Talk about it with Franjez. Today's special guest is a business coach, a podcast host, and an entrepreneur. Today's guest is Big D.
What's up, man?
D, how you doing?
Living a dream.
My man. Thank you for coming through.
Appreciate the invite.
Absolutely, my pleasure. How you doing today?
Doing good, man. It's a little rainy outside, a little bit of traffic coming up here, but I don't miss coming up here. My family growing up used to live in Yonkers. I used to remember on Fridays, so once in a while we used to come up here and spend the weekends at my cousin's house.
Nice.
And sitting in that 3 hours of traffic is something I definitely don't miss.
Absolutely, yeah. That traffic, especially on a Friday.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to go home.
Yeah.
All right, let's start with the beginning of it all. Where were you born?
Elizabeth, New Jersey. I was in Elizabeth till I was 14, and then we moved into a town called Howell, which is in Monmouth County. So it's not so much like the apartment style and a high rise kind of place. We moved into a place, the suburbs, where it was a different lifestyle, and I got to see neighbors that you could actually hang out with. You didn't have to worry about people stealing your cars and your bikes and, worry about the projects across the street. It was kind of a weird situation to get used to. But I saw a different part of life. I think when you grow up in an area where there's such congestion, high rises and, projects and all that kind of stuff, like you don't realize like how much more is out there in the world because you're kind of stuck in this realm. So I think moving there opened up my eyes to, different lifestyles, people having different jobs, people having, different things that I just wasn't accustomed to seeing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the congestion alone, you have a different mindset.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I can see that. And tell us a little bit about your childhood. What was your childhood like? What type of kid were you? What were you into?
I was a bad kid.
No way.
Yeah, I think all entrepreneurs were, right? So I wasn't a bad kid. I just wasn't good in school. And I didn't care. I was actually a really fat kid when I was young, and that was, I just guess, my way of doing what I did. I played sports, and I don't know. I always wanted to do stuff. I always wanted to get into things and do things, and things that I wasn't supposed to do. Thank God I never really got in trouble. But I think as all kids, we explore and do the things that we're not supposed to do.
Absolutely.
But I remember. When I was young, I think I was 14 years old, and when we were moving, we passed Bon Jovi's house.
Really?
Yeah, and it was on the way, and so even here in New York, you see the way the buildings are, the way the houses are. I mean, areas here next door, multiple units in one place, right? So when I passed by his house, and I saw this development of big homes, I was like, wow, this is impressive. And that was the inception of what wealthy was.
What was it, like one big property with multiple homes
on it? One big
house,
with one big property, one big house, and just something I thought it was like a store or a mall. When you grow up in an area, you don't realize things could be that big. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
You don't watch TV. There was no MTV Cribs back in the day. You didn't see lifestyles back in the day as a kid. You didn't see that stuff. So seeing this whole big thing that I've never seen before. And I remember it was yesterday, my dad said, "Those are rich people." And I said, "I want to be rich." He goes, "You'll never be rich. That's not us."
No way.
I remember yesterday. And from that day moving forward, I had a rich mentality. And my perception of rich compared to what rich is today are two different things. I mean, when you're young, you're money motivated, you're money driven. I mean, when you were a kid, you probably wanted a Lamborghini. I mean, I probably wanted a monster truck pulling a Lamborghini. You know what I'm saying? On
I
a
looked
trailer.
up to Ric Flair, so I wanted the Rolex. I wanted all that good stuff, the flashy stuff, the limousine.
That's what we all wanted. And then, growing up, depending on what your surrounding is, depending on your conditional thinking and the way that you're taught to think.
100%.
Oh, now you're 17. Oh, you're lucky you have a car.
Yeah.
You're lucky you have something to go to point A to point B. So your dreams start diminishing when you get older because you start getting taught from the people who you trust and love that are supposed to be driving you in the right direction. Oh, you're lucky to have this. Be grateful to have this. Not realizing there's so much more on the other side. Mm-hmm. It's just the way you think. And I think the problem is that even in today's world, kids today get a trophy just to show up.
Mm-hmm.
So there's really no hard work that's ever taught to you as a kid on how to go out there and cycle yourself differently. You're just kind of like in the surrounding and what you're taught to do and how you're taught to do it. It's kind of how you do it. That's what you think is normal. And the problem with, I believe, success in a whole is the way that we're conditioned as kids and what we believe in and what we don't believe in, and people saying we can do things or we can't do things. And I think that's the biggest problem in this whole world, is that people stop dreaming because they start believing the bullshit that people tell them.
Yeah, because how do you get out of that? If you grew up around parents that talk to you this way, the media, news, television, magazines, music, it's all in everything you consume. How do you knock out of it? How do you get out of that?
So I always knew I wanted out after that day.
What age was this?
14. When I saw that house, I always knew I wanted out, but I didn't know how to get out. And when I was 16 years old, I read a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Amazing book.
So I met a guy. I was working for him. So when I was in high school, I was on a co-op program where I went to work. And I was doing construction, working for a guy. He was in his early 30s. He had 3 kids, big house, shore house, everything. I literally would work with him every day, and I would say, hey, listen, this weekend, do you need any yard work at your house? I would literally go to his house on Saturdays and Sundays and work for free.
Wow.
Just to talk to him.
Really?
Yeah, because when I read that book, I realized that he was my rich dad.
That's genius.
So I didn't look at what I was going to get to do it. I looked at, if I put in the work, I put in the time, and I asked the questions, I'm going to get the answers I need. Where in today's world is like people don't show up and what's in it for me mentality. I knew that there was something bigger there for me. I just had to show up, discover it, and then develop it.
That's the big difference right there.
Yeah.
100%. Knowing the education is more valuable than the little bit of money you can make.
Yep.
That's genius. That's amazing.
Only guy who ever believed in me, told me that, I was good at certain things, that I would make it, all these different things. And, just said things to me in a 2-year period of time that nobody's ever said to me, and believed in me more than anyone's ever believed in me. Even like working on a site, like something I couldn't do or couldn't figure out. He's like, you could do that here, do this. Like pushed me to be able to. And I remember when I co-authored my first book with somebody, like I literally wrote the whole first chapter, was dedicated to him.
My man.
Because he's the one who really showed me the other side. And we get so stuck in this world, and, we believe the things that we're led to believe, but we have to realize that a lot of it's a lie. It's made up. Go to high school, go to college, get a job, work for 40 years, retire on 40% of your income. You can't even live on 100%.
When you believe something, you need something to replace that belief. That's why it's hard to just remove a belief from someone. Because if you're removing the belief, that's my identity. That belief I've been believing my whole life. What am I replacing that with? If I don't have a replacement, I'm going to believe that for the rest of my life.
Yeah, so you have to change your association. Change the things you identify as what you can show up as.
Absolutely.
And you have to start believing that you've arrived before you even gotten there. So what I found out was throughout my entire life, from that point moving forward, if I wanted something, I had to see myself there. I had to believe I deserved it. I had to picture myself doing those things, being in those places, and then those things started to happen. Your subconscious doesn't know the difference between reality and what you're thinking.
Absolutely.
So if you keep telling yourself something, regardless if it's true or not, you're going to believe it. If I tell you that wall is black, after a while, we're going to believe that wall is black because this is what we're going to train ourselves to believe. So this is what we have to uncondition conditional thinking and get into the thinking from the place that we want. And I think here's the problem is that we grow up from 1st grade to 12th grade. We go to school and we get taught by average people, right or wrong.
Talk about it.
Average people, how to be average.
Yeah.
And if you want to do something different, you fail the test. You want to do something different, you fail the challenge. You want to do something different, whatever your essay was, and you want to be creative, you fail because you're not doing it the way they say you want to do it. And what I found out is that if you want to do extraordinary things, you have to learn from extraordinary people. And Not to say, listen, I'm not knocking teachers. We all need them. But at the end of the day, if those teachers were taught to teach us basic principles of life, of what we would use, how many things from first grade to 12th grade are we using today? Complete waste
Math,
of fucking time.
English, maybe.
Right, kicking a fucking ball, maybe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, basic things that they just want us to learn. You know, the very popular word lately, the Matrix.
Yeah.
You think that has to do with it, where they just want us to follow suit and just be with the rest.
Yeah.
Be with the rat race. That's the main goal, right?
Yeah, so the world is there's certain parts of the world that want to train us to be almost like soldiers.
Yep.
Because once you start thinking different, look at Elon Musk, look at Donald Trump, look at people who think different.
Yeah.
They shock the world. Then what happens? People are like, oh shit, the truth's out. Oh
Yeah.
shit, look what's going on. Like the guys are not, like, bro, they're dropping heat. You know what I mean?
100%.
But at the end of the day, like, everything that we live in is a false pretense. It's a false media. They're telling you things to scare the shit out of you. They're telling you things so that you, like, don't do things. But if you really knew the reality behind things and behind closed doors, probably we'd be in this whole different place.
You know, the social media is beautiful because it's bringing all this stuff to light. Before all this stuff, everything was beyond censored.
Yeah.
Now I'm so glad censorship is pretty much being torn apart. You can't stop social media. You can't stop people from being on the devices and seeing clips from podcasts like this.
Yeah.
That's dropping these jewels. Before then, that's amazing that you met that guy and read that book at that age. Because if not, how else would you have been woken up?
I have no idea. But
Right?
that was the change of my life, reading that book. And since that day, so that was 28 years ago, almost. 27, I'll be 44. I've read over 500 books.
My man.
I've listened to over 1,000 books. I literally was listening to a book the whole way here.
Nice.
Every time in the car, wherever I am, working out, I'm always listening to a book. I'm listening to something. I'm listening to something that's going to better me. I don't focus on music. The only sports I watch, I'm a Buffalo Bills fan, so I will watch games, but I won't go watch other games. I won't spend my whole Sunday doing it. I don't wear another man's jersey on my back.
My man, I like that.
I'm just saying, like,
no, I understand.
I never did. And you know what's crazy is my business coach told me, like, you're going to walk around, people walk around with someone else's name on their back, and I've never done it. Ever. I have memorabilia,
Yeah,
but I've never put somebody else's name on my back.
I like that.
Reason why is not why, and I'm not here to promote anybody else, but why am I giving somebody else the clout, which I should give myself? It's like people who follow these people on TikTok, follow these people that are movie stars. Like, they're so in love with these people. Imagine you were in love with yourself that much.
Absolutely.
Imagine you spent that much time doing things for you. Where would you be?
Far, very far. So what happened after 14? You read the book, you find, would you consider this guy the mentor?
He was my mentor. Yeah, my first
What
mentor.
comes next?
So 17 years old, left high school, and started my own business.
Wow, what was it?
Construction company.
Amazing.
Still own it today.
No way.
Yeah.
So is it like GC work?
Yeah, like build houses
Okay.
and big renovation work.
Okay.
Millions of dollars in work.
And then you outsource the plumbing and the electric?
Everything, sub everything out. Now, back then, probably, you know, we were doing all the work and we had a lot of employees. And, you know, now it's just everything operates, everything subbed out. That company's going away soon, either going to be sold or whatever. I've done it for 26 years. I'm over it. You know what I mean? But it's brought me to so many different places in my life.
Absolutely.
So I did construction, and I think by the time I was 21, maybe, I made over $1 million.
No way.
Yeah. So
All off the construction
off
company?
construction. That's all.
Wow.
Because you got to remember, like, 99 was when I left high school into the early 2000s. We had a great economic boom. And then in 2007, the economy crashed. I lost everything. Bro, I was 24, 25 years old, literally lost everything because I only knew good business. I didn't know how to stack money, save money, do this kind of stuff. Dude, I was 24. We had Escalades, we had Benzes, you know what I mean? We had the big house. Like, when you saw MTV Cribs on TV with rented stuff, I owned that stuff.
Wow.
You know, but until the day this phone stopped ringing and I was like, shit, I got $30,000 a month at 24 years old I need to cover.
Wow.
How am I going to do it? I couldn't. So I closed that company. I was forced to. I had so much debt. And, you know, people are like, oh, you quit. Listen, I ran during a good time. the economy crashed. I had to. What was I going to do? You know what I mean? I wasn't going to put my family in jeopardy.
A lot of business failed around that time.
We have laws in this country to use for that shit. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, I didn't know what to do. We bankrupted the company, and I just started moving forward. And I remember at that time I had a nanny raising my kids. My ex-wife was working 100+ hours a week, making great money, and she was now the breadwinner, and I had to stay home with the kids. But
what was she doing? Nursing?
No, she physical therapy.
Okay.
And she was making all the money, and throughout that time, we didn't really have a good relationship because we weren't really there together. We were working, and the nanny were raising the kids, and now I'm watching the kids. She's working. Now I'm trying to figure out what I can do to bring in more money. It was a clusterfuck, dude.
How'd your father feel around that time when you're making all this money?
How my father? I don't think my dad's ever told me he was proud of me.
But could you tell he felt anything? Even if it was envy or like shock because he told you you'll never be rich.
No.
Did you notice anything?
So me and my brother are polar opposites, and my brother's super close with my dad. I'm not really close with my dad. I don't agree with certain things. We just don't talk the same language. You know
different mindsets.
Different mindsets. So it's like, you don't understand. But no, never has he said anything. My dad has, like, in the past asked me for things or do this, do that. Like, I almost felt like I was obligated, at that point. But I don't know. We didn't talk for some time. We talk, now, but we don't talk so much. But I just kind of just do my thing. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, like, you have to realize that your fans and your super fans and the people who really are encouraging you are not your bloodline.
100%. Not even your friends.
Yeah,
they're not even your friends.
They're people you just met, people you've done business with, people that have just came around, and the universe puts people around like that.
Absolutely.
So I was going to this that where, like, when we're kids, I was talking about before, but I lost my train of thought. When we're kids, we're conditioned a certain way, but not only are we conditioned that way, like, we don't get to choose our friends. Mm-hmm. Our friends become our friends because geography puts us there.
Absolutely.
We literally end up in a neighborhood, right neighbor, left neighbor, across the street. These are our homies, right?
And then school.
Right.
You're forced to be in this classroom with people from the whole city.
Yep. So these are your people.
Yep.
Now, if you can go back and look at these people on what they've done today, you probably pick a different group of friends.
Absolutely.
But we weren't able to pick them because we didn't know, we didn't understand, and we were just placed there. But now as adults, we have the opportunity to say, I want to spend time with him, spend time with her, spend time with them, because we see what they're doing. A common problem in life is those people don't let go of those past people, and they want to continue to do life with them. And when you sit around a table, what do you talk about? You talk about a common past. If you're not talking about a common future with people, you really have nothing to talk about.
You're not going anywhere.
Still love them, still like them, but you need to level up.
And even keeping that same friend group, as you get older, you start finding friends just like those friends because we're all in the same. I've been teaching this one thing recently called the domino effect. Well, the domino effect is the long thing, the long game, but the daily domino. Every day, because our life is one big domino effect. Today's domino ricochets into tomorrow's domino, so on and so forth. So you know how people say we're not in the same frequency, we shouldn't even meet, we would have never met, blah, blah. This exactly what you're saying is how I visualize the domino. If I'm going towards a goal, let's say I want to go to college to be a doctor, all the people I'm bumping into are on that route. I'm not going to bump into somebody that's just drinking and partying every day. Yeah. I'm going towards this route, so I'm going to find people that are on this route.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. If you're not going towards a goal and you're just hanging around the same people, your goal, where you're going, you're going to bump into the same exact type of people that are not doing anything with their lives.
Yep.
It's 100%.
So it's like, listen, you can go tailgate every Sunday at a football game. These are the people you're hanging out with. This is what you're doing.
And you'll find more people like that.
You're spending 16 hours in a parking lot drinking, getting drunk, doing what you got to do. But when it comes time to change your life, do something for you, you got no time. This is what people do. They always have excuses for their priorities of change, but they never have excuses for their priorities of comfort.
100%. Yeah. It's not fun. If it's not fun, I'm not doing it.
That's it.
If I'm not making $1 million right now, why would I bust my ass for 20 years?
Success is not fun, dude.
Nah, it's not.
It's a hard climb that most people aren't willing to take.
100%. So what comes next? 2007 turns things upside down.
So yeah, my buddy starts calling me. He knows, like, he was in construction too. He starts calling me. He's like, "Hey, how would you like to get paid every time the phone rings?" I'm like, what? I hung up on him like 5 times. I'm like, what are you on crack, dude? Like, you're not making money with doing drugs, hallucinating, right? And he's like, nah, for real, dude, just check this thing out. These guys are making money. I'm like, all right. I'm like, where is it? He goes, it's at some doctor's office. These guys are going to come talk. They're going to teach us how to make money. All right, cool. He goes, listen, just like wear your best business attire. I love telling this story. I was like, all right. So I went into my closet. I had a brand new pair of Timberland work boots that I never wore before. So they were new because they weren't dirty. That was new, good attire. I had a pair of jeans that weren't ripped. That was good attire. And I put a brand new hoodie on. Right?
Business attire.
That was my business attire. I didn't own a suit back then. And I remember I had a chopper motorcycle back then.
Nice.
I rode my chopper there. Me loud as hell coming through the parking lot, guys in Mercedes, doctors like, who the hell is this guy? I walk and everyone's in a suit. So I remember this day so clear. I was sitting in the front. I couldn't wait for it to be over. But as soon as this guy started talking, the first thing he said was, hey, how you doing? Like, he told me where he came from. He was a car salesman, blah, 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 blah. And now he's making $40,000 a month. Dude, I didn't even listen to the rest of the presentation. I waited for it to be over. And the whole time I'm sitting in my head like, all right, I'm not making anything right now. If I can make $40,000 a month, if I can make $20,000 a month, like, what do I need to do? This guy doesn't look that smart. Like, if he could do it, I could do it. These are the things I'm telling myself, right? So at the end of the meeting, as soon as he's like, all right, if anyone has any questions, I literally stood up, went right in front of him. I go, what do I need to do? He said, put people in front of me. I said, that's it? He said, that's it. So I remember I was like, that's it. How many people you want? He goes, as many as you can get. I said, all right, I'll get 100 people in front of you. He's like, no way. I said, I'll get 100 people in front of you. So I remember I called like 120 people. And remember, I was young, successful. I had clout. Like, people like respected me back then. Everyone was in a down economy. I think like 86 people showed up to my house.
Wow.
Dude, cars wrapped around the block.
Wow.
Literally wrapped around the block. And living room, kitchen, stairwell, back stairwell, entire house full of people.
Wow.
So I think like 30 people got involved in getting paid every time the phone rings. First week or something, I made like $6,600.
But what was he selling?
It was like you were reselling phone service, internet service. You were like a reseller.
Oh.
But it was like a multi-level marketing program.
Okay.
But dude, I didn't know. Like, I don't know anything about this. My aunt's been selling Mary Kay for like 20 years. Bro, she's always got a brand new Cadillac.
No way.
So I said, if she could sell lipstick, I could sell phone service. You know what I mean, right?
Absolutely.
My mom used to sell Tupperware. If you could sell rubber bowls with a top, I could sell phone service.
Absolutely.
So I was just totally ignorant to what I was doing. And he said, get people in front of me. And when people were like, hey, what is it about? I said, just trust me. Come over, 30 minutes of your time. If it's not worth your time, I'll pay you for your time. That's what I told everyone. Bro, and everyone was like thankful for coming, whatever. And I think like within our first 30 days or 45 days, somewhere around like 20 grand.
Wow.
I was like, this is stupid money, right? So a couple $1 million after 5 years. Was on The Apprentice twice with Trump. Success from Home Magazine 3 years. Like, these are things that like, they're a big deal, but they're not a big deal. But these are just things like, dude, I'm a construction guy swinging a hammer. Like, I've never seen this coming.
Yeah.
You know? So I got involved in this space for probably about, 10 years. And I went on to another company and made money there. I still get paid from that company today.
Nice.
But I got back into construction because that's where like my heart and soul was.
And you knew it. It's what you know.
Yeah, it's what I know. And at the end of the day, dude, listen, if you're doing $5-10 million a year in construction, you're making good money.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? But you just got to be able to do systems and processes.
Absolutely.
So there's money to be made everywhere. So I got back involved in construction. I had some fucking bullshit stuff happen. I bought a bad business. It was a couple $1 million in debt when I bought it. The books were cooked, so that threw me for a loop. So I've been through all these crazy cycles, bro, of like good, bad, good, bad, good, bad. And I never quit, right?
That's the entrepreneur life.
And then I got robbed. I was in business back in 2016. I had a safe in my office. They blew the safe out of the floor. There was like 300 grand in the safe. They took that. Like, dude, it just kept happening. I believe God's got a game out there. How bad do you really want it? You know what I mean? Like, are you fighting or are you not?
I like that.
So, like, dude, yesterday, I got kicked in the nuts probably 3 times yesterday. Like I had a great beginning of my week, and yesterday I was getting blasted against the wall. I was like, fuck, I thought I was getting shot with a shotgun. But this is the shit that happens when you're an entrepreneur. The higher you go, the harder the fall.
Absolutely.
So this is the life I set myself up for. And I know that no matter what's going to happen, like if I want to keep going, I'm going to keep fighting. And anyone who's ever been successful, had a taste of success, is continuing to be successful. Dude, we got more L's than we have W's.
Absolutely.
That's just the way life is.
Yeah.
So I understand that. So what I've done in the last 5 years is I converted that to teaching people now, because this whole fake social media world, this whole giving up on yourself world, this whole, staying in your house and not doing shit world is so messed up that people literally stop believing themselves. People literally stop showing up, and people just don't want to do anything. People have so much talent. The world is made up of people who are super untalented and just decide to be creative with their time and ignorant with their space, but become successful. Most people don't understand what they're going to do or where they're going to be, but they're just willing to do it. So I now teach people like their greatest potentials. There's a rooting problem with most people, why most people are comfortable, while most people are stuck, why most businesses only make $100,000 or $1 million a year and they can't get to the next threshold. It's all inner problems. It's belief problems and not seeing the next step, and contentment, feeling comfortable, or not doing what you did to get there. And once you get there, you kind of slow down so you don't keep going. Everyone has different problems. So I decided coaching people would be the best bet for me because, dude, I've been through it. I love when people tell me, man, my life's rough. Oh, yeah, let's compare. You know what I mean? I've been through some shit. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But I'm not here to compare with anyone. I just want to show people what their full potential looks like, what a greater life looks like, because there's something on the other side of fear. And if you really kind of peek behind the wall,
that's what greatness is.
It's amazing.
Absolutely. When did the coaching begin?
5 years ago.
5 years ago.
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
very nice.
Yeah, I coach people. I speak. I'm big on social media, as you see. I give out free content all day.
That's how you do it.
The amount of stuff that I give people, like someone doesn't even have to hire me. If they literally just listen to my videos, they would be successful. But there's something different between paying for something and getting something for free.
100%.
When you pay for something, you pay attention.
100%.
When you get something for free,
you don't pay attention. You don't apply it. You don't apply it. And that's exactly what coaching is. And that's exactly why you have to give it all away.
Yeah.
Because some people will take it and run with it.
Yeah.
But majority of people need that guidance.
So why I felt like it was good for me is because over the last 10 years plus, people would call me all the time. I was already coaching people, but I was doing it for free. But then what I was figuring out was I'm giving these people so much information, but they're not using it. But if they paid me, they would use it. So I call those people ask holes. They ask me, but to do the opposite different. Totally opposite of what they said or what they asked. Yeah. They're in a different situation. And then I go, hey, told you so. But if they paid for that experience, it would be a little bit different.
Absolutely. Where'd the name Big D come from? I know Dan, of course, but I guess the big side.
A lot of people have called me Big D in the past. I was a bodybuilder when I was younger. But it shows Big Dan, Big D.
Yeah.
And I felt like for the podcast scene, Big D would be very attractive to people. It would make people think.
Yeah,
absolutely. So if I'm walking through an airport and I got a Big D shirt on, yo, what's Big D? I'm Big D.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What's the Big D podcast? Go check it out. It's always a topic of conversation that people want to talk about. And it was attractive, especially the way I created it.
Absolutely. When did the podcasting begin?
So I just started my podcasting in October.
Nice.
My one Big D podcast started in October. I'm a co-host on the Intrepidus podcast. That started about a year and a half ago.
That's with your son, right?
No, that's with a partner of mine, Anthony.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought I read that somewhere. Was your
my son was on the podcast with us as a guest. It's Anthony. He's a partner of mine in the podcast.
Very nice.
Yeah, we interview business owners. We talk about, so Intrepidus is the name of it. It's a Latin word of fear. So we talk about, in the inception of their company, what did they fear most? How did they overcome the fear? What keeps them up at night? Certain things about what a business owner's core is and the fear behind it that keeps them going. because it helps the next guy. It helps the person who's sitting on the edge. It helps the person who's going through the same problems really see themselves as like, hey, I'm not the only one. I'm not suffering. We're all in this space. And there's so many common things with so many people that have been on a show, and it's really relatable to the audience.
Yeah. If people only knew how common everybody's problems were, the mistakes, the ups and downs, we all go through the same things, 100%. All right, let's get to some mindset questions. What's one mindset shift that changed your whole direction? One main key. Like if you were to give one major one.
Don't give a fuck about what nobody else thinks.
I like that. Absolutely. I agree 100%.
Reason being, nobody pays your bills. Nobody wakes you up in the morning. Nobody's going to do anything for you. At the end of the day, it's you versus you. We have this kind of like internal thought process of we have to be opinion getters and ask people what they think about what our idea is, what our business is, you know, what we're doing, who this girl or guy is that we're dating. Who gives a fuck? If it's what you want, who cares what other people think?
Absolutely.
You know, but people ask people their opinion for one reason, to talk them out of it.
Damn, that's deep. Yeah, they want to hear what else somebody has to say that's negative.
Yep.
You're right.
Because they don't believe in themselves. Once somebody else, don't do it. Don't think it's a good idea. Yeah, I didn't think so either. Reverse is like, hey, I'm fucking doing it no matter what.
Absolutely. You know? I like that. What's the difference between the two podcasts? The one you do.
So the Big D podcast is a mindset podcast. It's a different topic every week, whether it's passion, purpose, legacy, whatever it is. It's a different topic that I spend, 20 to 30 minutes on deep every single week about, the different situations of life, basically like to engage people on these certain things that are going on in your life. Here's how you change it. Here's how I changed it. Here's how these famous people changed it. And you just show people because like everyone thinks they're alone. I'm dealing with this alone. I'm dealing with this alone. But if you actually listen to like really good podcasts out there, the whole point of a podcast is for the audience to be like, wow, he's talking about me. So if you can make something relatable, I believe every single podcast has one thing that someone's going to be like, man, he's talking about me. How did he know? Because it's relatable. It's situationable for everyone. We all go through it.
We all go through it.
And then the Intrepidus podcast is an interview process with business owners or anyone of significance who's done something just to show people like on the other side of fear, here's where it ends.
That's kind of what I do here. I interview someone with a story. Hopefully it's inspirational to someone and they get at least one gem per episode. That's exactly what I'm doing here too.
Yeah, I give out a free 7-day program. Like on every podcast on my website, I have a free 7-day program. So it basically takes people from stuck to ammunition. A couple short videos over 7 days and literally trigger points. I know what the trigger points are.
Nice.
So I didn't go to college to study psychology, but dealing with people over the last 30 years and reading the books I've read, it's self-education in psychology. You understand the human brain. You understand what people think. And if you really look at most successful people in the world, we've all had the same problems. We've all had the same issues. We've all had the same situations, and that's why we're in the space that we're in. And when you look at 98% of the rest of the world, the mediocrity, they are where they are because they believe what they believe.
That's 100%. And usually the professors you actually do the work. That's right. And that's where you really learn the gems, doing the work, failing and relearning and all that good stuff. How was it closing on the first business coach client? How'd that happen? Because I know you say you were doing it for free because it's just who you were.
I literally just threw out. I think I just threw out like an ad or something like, "Hey, hiring 5 people or something. Next 5 clients is discount, whatever it is." And I remember like getting a bunch of DMs like, "Yo, can I get one of those spots? Yo, can I get one of those spots?"
Wow.
Because I always created like a fear of loss.
Yeah.
When I was younger, now it's like, listen, if you don't want to hire me, I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, straight up.
I'm not here to convince you.
Yeah.
I know you're fucked up. I'm fucked up. Or I have a coach.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like my coach is $100,000 a year.
Woo.
You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, like I went from $20,000 a year to $30,000 a year to $40,000 a year to $50,000 a year. Now at $100,000 a year because like at the end of the day, like as you grow, you go. I have to scale up. So I'm not here to tell people, hey, you need to spend 20 grand a year. You need to spend 15 grand a year. Like, they know it. But you know what? They'd rather get the new iPhone. They'd rather go on vacation. They'd rather take a couple days off of work and do nothing. Like, this is people.
Yeah.
And I'm not here to convince the average blue collar guy why he can be better. He has to decide he wants to be better. I can't motivate nobody. I can inspire somebody, but I'm not going to be there in the morning taking you out of bed, putting your shoes on, helping you put your underwear on. That's not me, and that's nobody. We do that ourselves.
Absolutely. Nobody's your mom. You're
Right.
an adult now. You got to do it all by yourself or just follow suit.
So now it's like when you know that you're better and you know that you can deliver better content, people just come.
You're right. You're right. You're becoming a trusted brand.
Yeah.
And whatever you drop, people are going to trust
That's
it.
why I started the podcast, because, I think it was a little bit harder without the podcast because I wasn't delivering content.
With the podcast, and you do it all alone, right? You never a guest on yours. So that's the perfect way to just drop those gems and what you're about and what you offer, and then clip it up. And literally, that's the easiest way to do it now.
So like this week, I put out 10 clips for the podcast that'll drop on Monday.
Nice.
So I'm always giving people like, this is what's coming. This is what's coming. And it gets them ready.
Yeah.
And then I get a lot of reactions on those shorts. Hey, I really like, oh, you loved it? Like the whole podcast is coming out Monday.
Nice. Very nice. Who's the first person you think of when you think of success?
Myself.
I like that. I figured that was going to be your answer. How hard you've been going since 14, I'd say.
But I look at the sacrifice. So I'm a big believer in God, and I look at the sacrifice of Jesus, right? So like I'm a big guy. I read every day. I read scripture every day. I journal every day. And I look at the sacrifice of Jesus, right? He was the black sheep, and he was the one who went out there and brought the world together when nobody believed in him. Nobody believed in me. I'm the black sheep of my family. So I just have to follow in his footsteps. And then one day I'll have my apostles. I'll have my people. I'll have my tribe.
Amen.
And that's all I'm looking for. I'm just looking for the people not to follow me, not to be behind me, but to walk with me. And I think that's a big thing in leadership is most people want to be the boss.
Yeah.
Most people want to be in the front of the line. Hey, listen, I'll stand behind you 100%. As long as we're walking the same pace, we're going the same direction, and we have the same goal. I'll be all the way in the back. But I'm not pushing you. I'm not carrying you because I got to carry myself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. You're Catholic?
No, Christian. I was born Catholic, but I became a born-again Christian 17 years ago.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. What's the most exciting thing you ever did?
I had children.
My man. I like that. How many kids you got?
3.
Beautiful.
Yeah, my son's 20. My other son will be 19 in a couple weeks. And my daughter's 15.
You've learned a lot of lessons. What was the toughest one?
That your kids do as you do, not as you say.
I have a 17-year-old, and I've been doing that because growing up, your parents could tell you everything that you need to know or need to do, and it's in one ear and out the other. Mm-hmm. But like I was saying, the domino effect earlier, where it's every day, this is on your domino, your mindset, what your goals are, and all that is. So if something negative is on your domino, that's just going to keep ricocheting 100%. And ricocheting.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
So your kids are going to adapt your behaviors. They're going to adapt everything about you. So my kids know, number one, I don't quit. They know I am relentless as fuck. You know what I'm saying? I have grit like a motherfucker.
Nice.
And I go after everything, and I teach them to do the same thing. My kids don't take no shit. My kids don't cry about it. My kids go after it. My oldest son right now, I was with him this morning, and he's like, man, I'm having such a good year for business. Hired a business coach, right? So it's a cycle. Because now he could see past me. I got him to business, but I couldn't get it. I don't coach him. Yeah. Somebody else coaches him because it's different, right? Easier, so my kid has a respect for me somewhere as a father.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have a respect for me as an authority in business to take him to the next level, because what happens with your kids is they think that you're like scolding them. They think that you're pushing them.
It's more emotional.
Yeah. So like I want to be his dad. I don't want to be his friend. I don't want to be his business partner. I don't want to be anything. I want to be your dad.
Yeah.
And I'll always be here for you. I'll always show you the way.
Nice.
But it's time for you to learn from somebody else.
That's beautiful. I love that.
And what do a lot of parents do? For their entire life, they act like they're right versus acting like they're wrong, when sometimes their kids grow up and know more than the parents do, but some of the parents will never admit it. Listen, my kid's better than me at some things. He's smarter than me in some things. I'm first to admit it. Both of my boys, even my daughter. My daughter now wants to do media, wants to do all that stuff. Like, listen, I encourage her to do things, and I'll never tell her she can't do something. I'll never tell my boys they can't do something, because a lot of times when we grew up and we wanted to do stuff, we were told we can't.
Absolutely.
And if you
And
tell
we
you,
shouldn't.
yeah. So you should try everything. If you want to be a part of something, see how it feels. Does it feel good? Does it feel right? Right?
Yeah.
And if you believe can't is a word in your vocabulary, then you have failure living inside of you.
Absolutely.
Can't isn't a word. It's not even in a dictionary.
I like that. What's something people misunderstand about you?
People think I'm a dick.
And why is that? Because you're stern?
Stern. And, when people meet me, they always go, what's wrong with you? I have a serious face. But when you meet me, I'm a down-to-earth guy. I'm waiting for you to talk. I'm waiting for you to, come out. Either you're going to be cocky, you're going to be arrogant, or you're going to be comfortable to me, and, we're going to figure it out. I'm very selective with who I give my time to, because my time will expire real quick if I feel like you're not appreciative. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So
it's like those podcasts that people cancel.
yeah.
My time's not valuable? What's going on here?
Listen, at the end of the day, bro, like, we all have problems, family, business, whatever, but like, this is an obligation. You make an obligation to somebody to show up, like, you show up. That's it. Like, at the end of the day, like, I have a schedule. This is not around the corner. You're not coming to me. I'm coming to you. That's a big deal. Everyone comes to me. I go to very few people. You know what I'm saying?
I'm honored, man.
So,
Thank you.
I mean, I've been on 10. I'm going to California. When I'm in California, I'm going to be on a Beat Nuts podcast, like, and Wise Nuts podcast, both of those.
The music?
No,
Beat Nuts?
No, it's there's two. There's the Wise Nuts, and then there's the Beat Nuts. They're two different guys.
Okay.
But the Wise Nuts I have scheduled now, like, that's a big podcast. You know what I mean? Like, I literally worked my whole schedule. I was supposed to fly out the day they wanted me to do it. I rearranged my schedule to do it because it's huge.
Good.
So at the end of the day, like, no matter what happens, and I know guys like that, even if their wife was giving birth, they would still be there because you have an obligation. When you make an obligation to people in their time, you have to figure it out. Listen, car accidents, this, that, things happen. But like, hey, if you know your wife's going to give birth, you don't schedule a podcast within that time frame, or you let your guests know, hey, there may be a situation where this may happen, but you don't tell them the day before.
100%.
You know what I mean?
100%. I agree completely. One of my favorite books that I recommend people, number one, to open people's mind, is The Four Agreements. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about that
Great book.
Do you have a book that you recommend people? Like the first one, if people were beginning their journey, just to open their mind. I love that book because it's short, mm-hmm. and it's like a slow pry to your mind. Do you have one that you recommend people?
Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
That's another good one. I read that one too.
That was my second book I read.
Really?
I read that book like 10 times.
Nice.
A newer book that's out now is The Power of One More by Ed Milet.
The Power of One More.
Ed Milet.
I know that the author. I don't think I read that book.
So
Power of One
Ed's
More.
dad dealt with addiction, alcohol addiction. And him and his dad didn't have a great relationship, and then they did. And then when his dad started recovering, he would talk to his dad about, hey, Dad, how are we looking? He goes, one more day. We're gonna do this one more day, one more. So he created a book about one more rep, one more phone call, one more question. Like, every chapter is about something different about one more. And then, when his dad died, like, so many people called him about his dad because his dad used to call up and check on people that he sponsored and all this different stuff. He learned so much about his dad after his dad passed away.
Afterwards.
Yeah. But he spent time with his dad when he sobered up. But he's like, hey, Dad, we're going to stay sober. And his dad would be like, yeah, for one more day. One more. Because he didn't know about tomorrow, but he knew about today.
Yeah. It's all we have control over.
So his whole book is Power One More. Gary Vee's got a good book, Jab, Jab, Punch.
I haven't read. I love Gary Vee. I follow and watch all his
He's
stuff.
out of control.
But I haven't read none of his books. You recommend his books?
He has a good book. The Slight Edge is a good book.
All right.
It's a really good book. There's a lot of good books, man. John Maxwell has a lot of leadership books that are really good. I've read probably every one of his books. Donald Trump and Robert Kiyosaki, both of them, probably have really good books about like success and wealth. There's been so many books I've read, man, so many.
I want to pull them up.
On the way up here, I was listening to The Obstacle is the Way.
I've read that one.
I read the book,
Very
and now
good.
I'm listening to it again.
Very good. Very good book. I was trying to find my list of books, but we'll get to that later. I want to run down the books, see if you read them and if you have any words to say about them, but we'll get to that in a few. Why are you currently obsessed with learning and improving? You've been doing it for so long. You've read so many books. What keeps you still going, still seeking, still learning and growing?
The man who stops learning is the man who stops growing.
Whew.
So the day that we feel we know it all is the day that we lose it all. And your net worth will only grow to the value that you build it based on everything that you put inside of you, right? So Jim Rohn says it the best, like you will only grow based on the amount of books you can step on to make your way up the ladder. So every book you read is another step, right? So you can't build yourself in a place to become better today than you were yesterday unless you have some sort of self-improvement. 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 15 minutes of something inspirational, a book, a couple chapters a day, anything will help you. What won't help you is watching TV, thinking you know it all, staying on social media and scrolling all day. That's just not going to help you. Like even when people are like, "Oh, I'm on my phone and I'm watching these inspirational videos." It doesn't do shit.
That doesn't do shit. Watch the whole podcast. Don't watch just the snippet. Watch the whole
Read the
podcast. Yeah, that too. Read the whole book. Watch the whole podcast. Get the whole idea. 100%.
People, I can't read. I don't have attention span. Well, that's fine. Well, they have it on audio. Listen to it.
They have it on audio. 100%. All right, here we go. These are my top 12 books that I recommend. I've read maybe 50 or something like that. Not too many, but this is in the order that I told people. I feel like it slowly opens your mind. Them? No, the order that I recommend them.
Okay, go ahead.
The Four Agreements.
Good book.
The Daily Stoic.
Never read it.
Amazing book. It's Daily Stoic, 365 passages from like philosophers like Marcus Aurelius and all these people, and he breaks them down.
What I found about you is you're big in philosophy.
I love philosophy.
And like psychology.
I love psychology.
I can tell by just like watching you and the things that you say, the things that you do.
Absolutely.
About shifting people's minds.
Yeah. I want to help, and that domino thing, because I've learned all this stuff. And I want to, it's hard to explain things to people for them to actually give a fuck and try to switch. And, so I try to dumb it down to be so simple. So the Daily Domino I'm so proud of that shit because it's literally every day you get to work a little towards a goal that you want. But you got to find the goal. That way you know the direction of your domino. Your domino can fall this way towards that goal. But if you're just going with the flow of what your parents and your whole life has put into your life and your mind or whatever, your domino's going wherever, and you have no idea where the direction of your domino is. It's blindly falling.
It's like running on a flat tire.
There you go. It's blindly falling, and you have no idea where you're going next. Next book, The Untethered Soul.
Never read that.
Amazing. The Mastery of Love.
Never read that.
Amazing book. Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Great
That's the one.
Book.
That's the one.
So I would recommend that to anybody who wants to start reading and get out of their traditional thinking. Read that book.
I had my daughter listen to the audiobook, and it's easy for a child because it's written from a child's perspective.
Yes, correct.
It's beautiful.
Correct.
It's a very easy,
my son,
book.
I think, listened to it 3 times.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. 48 Laws of Power.
Great book.
It is a very fucking good book. A lot of people use it for evil, they say, but you use it however you want to use it.
It's good.
It's amazing. It's a really good book.
It's got good bullet points and good explanations of certain
100%. 100%. It helped me read people a little better.
Yeah.
How people try to use manipulation. That's how I use the book. It helps me see what people are really trying to do. Number 7, Think and Grow Rich.
Good book.
Mastery by Robert Greene.
Good book.
Very good book.
Robert Greene, all his books are good.
Yes.
That dude is boring as fuck to listen to.
But
that's what he talks.
yeah.
But like, dude, I went to an event one time and he was on stage. I think everyone fell asleep.
no.
Yeah, he is the most boring person to listen to. But his books are in jail. Like that's the number one book in a jail.
Wow.
Like literally, he's got some dynamic shit.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see what else I have. Mindfulness for Beginners.
Never read it.
Seneca on the Shortness of Life. Life is long.
Never read it.
The Power of Now.
Read it.
That's a really
Good
good
book.
one. And last but not least, The Courage to Be Disliked.
Never read it.
It's a really good one
I don't
too.
give a fuck if you don't like it. I don't need to read that one.
Oh man. What about legacy? Are you trying to leave something behind?
Oh, absolutely. Legacy is the most important thing because we have to understand something. Like, we don't ever know when we're coming into this world. So our parents don't know that they were born, where our parents don't even know we're coming. And the day we die is unknown as well. The only thing we have left is the hash between. This is what people remember us by. The things we did, how we made people feel, and what we were able to do to encourage other people or for them to remember us by. So legacy is super important, number one, because it's something that will always be here even after you're gone. And it talks a lot about your character. It talks a lot about what you've done. And it'll be conversations 20, 30, 40 years ago about you around a dining room table about what you did or how you impacted somebody's life. And I think most people don't value themselves enough to leave a legacy because they just go through the motions day in and day out. They do the same thing. They have nothing to drive them. They don't feel like they're important enough to leave anything behind, if that makes any sense. So legacy and empire. So I believe the two things that we need, I have it tattooed on my side. Empire on one side, legacy on the other, and grit in the middle of my stomach.
My man, really?
Yeah.
Stomach tattoos hurt.
My whole
Was
stomach.
that the most painful tattoo?
My sternum.
Yeah.
Right here. Oh,
when it hits the bone.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah, yeah.
Everything else was fine. My lower back was probably pretty bad. But so leaving a legacy is important because legacy is what carries on beyond you. And if you know why you're living and you're living for a purpose, that's going to condition your legacy. And that's going to allow you to have generational things happen and things that are going to be patternized throughout your kids' kids, based on what you did, which was impactful and powerful. But most people don't live for purpose. They have no purpose. They're tired because their life sucks, because they wake up, they're doing the same thing. You know that 98% of heart attacks happen on Sunday night into Monday morning because people know they're going to work?
No way. I had no idea.
Yeah.
That's deep.
People freak the fuck out on Sunday because they got to go to work on Monday.
Wow.
That's why most call outs in the business are on Monday morning.
Oh, that definitely. I know. People can't handle. No, my weekend was so
anxiety,
good.
this, that, and other thing, you
I
know?
was just on the beach on Sunday. I got to go to work.
Like people live for the weekend.
100%.
Like, dude, it's a Friday night and we're sitting here doing a podcast. Most people are banging it out at the bar.
Oh, yeah.
You know, hanging out with their friends or doing what they're doing. Like,
Oh,
they look forward to today. I look forward to every day, because every day is a blessing. And you never know. Like, I had an amazing Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday this week. I was in a business class for 36 hours. I learned so much, so many different things. And people were like, why are you still taking business classes? I mean, it's like continuing education for a doctor, right? Like, you always got to sharpen your knife.
You should.
Your knife gets dull day in and day out every time you use it. So every single thing. And, I've taken the same class 7 times.
Really?
And it's $5,000 every time.
It's the same exact class. Nothing changes.
It changes like with what's going on.
Okay.
But it's the same 3 days, like the same resources for 3 days. But you got to remember, like, you're only taking in 5-10%, retaining 3%, effectively using 1-2%.
Yeah.
So whatever I learned this time was maybe something that I heard 7 times ago, but now I needed this now.
When you say needed it kind of reminded me of like the Bible and religion. It's like you could read this passage so many times, but until you need that gem, that gem doesn't stand out for you. That's nice.
So,
I like that.
Yeah, most people don't want to bring themselves to a point where it's like your favorite song. You don't even all you need is the background music. You don't need the lyrics. You can sing it.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
How many times
absolutely.
did you have to fucking listen to that to memorize it?
Who knows?
The same thing in business.
Yeah.
How many times you have to read the same thing, do the same thing, show up the same way to get 100% of the results? Because doing it once isn't going to do shit.
Absolutely.
So that's this comparison. It's like, think about the songs that you know that are 20 years old, and if they popped on the radio like Ice Ice Baby right now, you know what I mean? Everyone could throw it down, right?
Yeah,
Because you
and
played
didn't
the
even
shit
want
out of
to,
it,
yeah.
and that CD was scratched, and even though it skipped over the first couple seconds, you still knew the shit.
And it was on the radio, and
Yeah.
it was on TV.
Exactly.
You're getting a cab, you walk down the street, a car drives by playing
That's the way
it.
you should be about your life. That's the passion that you have. As soon as like you wake up in the morning, it's like that radio, that song turning on, and you just being like, "Oh, you're ready to jam." Like as soon as you wake up, you should be ready to jam. You know, ready to go.
Absolutely.
If you're tired, your motivation is not there, and you're really like looking forward to the day ending versus the day starting.
Yeah, that they say sleep is the number one most important thing we should work
I
on.
go to sleep 9:30 every night.
Wow. That's
Wake
pretty
up
early.
4:30 in the morning.
Oh, okay, because you wake up very early.
Even if I went to bed at 11, I would still wake up at 4:30.
Wow.
But I know that my sleep's important. I need at least 7 hours.
I'm the same way.
7 hours.
I'm the same way.
But 4:30 is great. Like, so 4:30 I get up. I'm still dragging. Make my coffee, have a bottle of water, have a protein shake, sit down. I watch a couple like videos that I have on my phone that come to me, like 30-second videos, 2-minute videos, inspiring stuff that gets delivered to me every day for years.
Nice.
And then I get into my books, I start reading, then I work out. Now by 7 o'clock in the morning, dude, I've accomplished more than 90% of the world hasn't even woken up yet.
100%. But why that time of the morning?
It's peaceful. It's dark. Nobody's up. The house is quiet. You're ready to roll.
Nice.
And most successful people wake up in the hours of 3:30 to 5 o'clock in the morning because you can get more done when there's no distraction. Versus like, so for years, right, I had to get my kids off to school. So that's 6 o'clock in the morning. So if I woke up at 5:50, no shit, scrambling around to get them done. But why wouldn't I get up, get myself ready, start my day? We should always start our day before we enter the world, before we go on social media, before we look at an email, before we do anything. It should be our time. And if you can't dedicate the first hour of your day to you, the rest of your day is going to suck.
I like that. Very interesting.
When preparation meets opportunity, that's where success lives.
100%.
When you're prepared for the day, you're grounded, your reading's done, your journaling's done. You don't even have to do that. Your workout's done. Even if it's 30, listen, you don't have time to work out in the morning because you got to get up at 5, wake up at 4:30 and do 30 minutes. Do something. Walk around your house 50 times. I don't give a shit. Like, do something.
Absolutely.
Leave your phone down. Just think to yourself. Get yourself going. Get yourself wired. When you start giving yourself the day and the power to take over the day, it's a lot different than waking up, because everyone wakes up.
First thing they do, shut the alarm off, start scrolling.
You're giving the world your attention. Who gives a fuck?
You're giving your brain poison first thing in the morning.
Same thing before you go to bed. You're falling asleep with your phone in your hand.
Yep. Ingesting poison. Because people don't follow anything good.
If I can't fall asleep, I'll like put like a audio book on or something. I'll literally put my phone on my chest and then just let the phone fall.
I do nature sounds.
Yeah.
That's my favorite thing to go to sleep to. Water,
I can do that
especially.
too, but my dogs might bug out.
Man's best friend. So dogs are tough because they're really your best friend, and then they leave you. That's the hardest thing. Yeah. Has any dog left you?
I had a dog. I have 2 dogs now, but I had a dog 14 years.
It's the biggest heartbreak because they'll never.
She was my buddy.
They never treat you
My
bad.
2 dogs are not, but my dogs now are not like her. She was my sidekick. You know what I mean? Now it's like, this is like the family dog. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So it's different.
Yeah.
She was my dog, always with me. You know what I mean? Like,
Best friend for 14 years.
in my bed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's tough, man. Dogs are tough. As you get older, what has become more important and less important?
So less important is money.
My man. Good. I like that.
More important is just making sure that every single day I bring something of value to either myself, the people around me, or the world. And know that when I go to bed at night, I was driven to make a difference. I wasn't driven to just show up and get something back to me, So what I found out over the last 20 some odd years is when you stop worrying about money, you'll always have it. But when you worry about money, it's going to be a vicious cycle of chasing it.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
These are very wise words to drop, and people are not even going to be able to grasp that.
I'm telling you.
But you're right. You're 100%.
You have more
right.
week at the end of the money, right? Because all you do is you chase your check, you chase your dollar. But if you did something of value and you brought value to the world, you'll always be taken care of, and it'll always reciprocate. Everything will always come back. Invest your time, help people, do things, charity, church, whatever. Show up to places that are not going to feed you, and they're going to feed you tenfold.
If you didn't have kids, do you think your drive will still be so gung-ho?
I don't know. I was, before I had kids, I was money motivated. Then after I had kids and after I lost everything, I became result driven, right? So when money's your driver, it runs you. It's like a well that runs dry.
That's what I'm saying.
But now
you're definitely far beyond the money.
Yeah, my kids are different because now as my kids get older, I make them work for everything. I've showed them how to work for everything. But at the end of the day, like, they are the reason why I do what I do. And I show them, like, hey, you don't have to value money. Like, dude, I'm not walking around with Louis shoes on and, a 3-piece suit in my house and, trying to attract people with Bentleys in my driveway and Rolls Royces in my driveway, because that's not something I want to teach my kids. That's something that I don't need. That's something that they don't need. What they need to know is how to wake up every day, put their feet on the ground, be grounded, go after it no matter how hard it gets, and everything else is going to work out. When my son first started being in business, it was like, man, I don't have that much money. I don't have that much work. I got bills. Listen, you got to fight it out, dude. Go get a fucking job then. You know what I mean? You want to get a job? Go get a job. But you know what? Let me just tell you something. Like, when you want to go on vacation, you got to ask your boss. He's probably going to say no. And when you want to show up to work late, you're probably going to get yelled at. You might get your check deducted. So freedom comes with responsibility. And responsibility comes with sacrifice. And sacrifice isn't something everyone's willing to do. So you decide now if you're willing to do it, if you're going to do it, and if not, don't talk about it.
I like that. So why is it that you don't put the suits on? And because if you're business coaching, automatically people would assume you're going to walk in with a suit.
Well, I think
to be more relatable, maybe.
No, I think a lot of people who wear suits and wear these shoes and drive these cars, it's all about image.
Yeah.
I am who I am. I've built myself up from the ground to the place I am today, and I'm still the person I was, just a little bit smarter. So I don't forget where I came from, and if I go on stage, I'll wear a T-shirt.
My man.
You know what I mean? At the end of the day, that's how. And we're in a world today where it's okay.
Look at Gary Vee. He's killing it with the same T-shirt.
It's okay. You know what I'm saying?
It is. It really is.
I did wear a suit before, like when I was in these big companies and I had to talk on stage, I was wearing a suit, but I hated it, bro. It wasn't me. It wasn't who I am. Like, I got invited to a Lamborghini event coming up in Connecticut, and I'll probably not wear a suit. Everyone probably will have a suit on. But what I'll probably have on is probably Jordan 1s, jeans, and a sports coat. And a hat.
All right. the coat.
Because like at the end of the day, like that's who I am.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And people know me as Big D. And again, like look at how football players dress. Like how these guys, like, you know what I mean? Like some guys come in, they got to be the fashion queens.
Yep.
Other guys, they dress like they're still in college.
Yeah.
So the minute you forget your roots, you unhumble yourself. And you put yourself in a position where now you feel you need to dress the code to feel important. Dude, I don't need to walk in a room and be the important one. I don't need to walk in a room and feel like the most liked guy in the room. You're going to know me, and if you like me, you like me. If you don't, you don't. It's not my problem.
I like it. What's the best piece of advice you would give your younger self?
Oh, man. Think twice before you do it.
Anything? Before you do anything?
Think twice before you do it.
Anything. Before you do anything.
So when I was younger, you act on emotion.
Ah, okay.
I don't act on emotion. I act on logic now. I act on, I look at the situation and I look at the opportunity and I think about it. What would this do for my family? What would this do for me? if it didn't work out, where would it bring me? If it did work out, where would it bring me? Versus like, oh yeah, bro, it's the best shit in the world. You know what I mean? I'm going to do it. I've lost so much money making stupid decisions fast. I don't overthink, but I just don't make emotional decisions.
You think it through.
Not for long. But I basically take a piece of paper in my mind, positive, negative, outcome, good or bad. All right, I'll do it.
Nice.
Versus you hyping me up. Yeah, I'm in. You know how it is. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm in.
It's the best. It's the new thing.
Hey, I got this business opportunity. I need 75 grand. All right, here you go. There goes my 75 grand. You know?
Oh, man.
It's happened.
I bet.
It's happened.
Oh, man. I have a feeling you work on your mental health in a great way. We haven't touched it exactly. Is it in the exercising? Is it in the books? Is it in the journaling?
Oh, it's so much, dude. Mentally and physically, your body runs. Everything else runs off of your mental and your physical way that you treat your body. So, like I said, every morning I wake up, I journal, I read, then I work out. I give myself priority. I do what I have to do. If my day doesn't start till 10, my day doesn't start till 10. My day doesn't start till 8, doesn't start till 8. The world's going to wait for me. You know, and I've made my world look like the way I want it to work. And I've been able to cycle myself through where I give myself everything I need in the morning so I'm mentally prepared, right? So I get myself right. I take everything out, write it all out, get my day started. Then I work out. So any frustration I have, I get it out. Then I can lay my head on a pillow at night and know that, like, hey, listen, I can control what I can control. What I can't control, I can't control. But at the same time, like, I know that it's important for me to eat right. It's going to make me feel better. It's going to make me do better. Working out is going to make me look better. It's going to make me feel better. And it's going to make me feel better about myself, not only just, internally. It's going to make me feel better about myself externally.
So you think it's that alone time? All the time you spend on working on yourself, is that really what you think it's the
Dude,
best help?
Yeah, I love driving here for 3 hours, with myself, not on the phone.
Yeah.
Just thinking, listening, doing things. I love that time.
Yeah.
I love, and I think a lot of people don't like when they're alone.
They don't. That's why people always distracting themselves.
Yeah.
That's literally it. People don't like themselves, so they distract themselves because themselves it's too much. It's not fun. They have to work, responsibilities and all that come.
That's why I love shooting my podcast. It's it takes an hour, however long it takes. I'm in a room by myself, just me and the cameras, and I'm just talking.
Nice.
So I'm basically I know pre-thought what I'm going to talk about. It's something I've dealt with, something I'm going through, whatever it is. Now it's my job to deliver it. So instead of me journaling it, I'm giving it to the world.
That's beautiful.
So I'm journaling via voice for these social platforms for people to hear it. Just to know, hey, here's the vulnerable guy who's been through it. Here's what he's done. And here's the truth.
Nice. How do you go about choosing the topic for your podcast? Do you choose it the day of? Do you schedule it by the month? How does your scheduling work?
So right now, I just did episode 29. So the first 50 episodes, I literally wrote down a whole bunch of topics that I wanted to talk about.
Like 50 topics?
I wrote 100.
Oh, nice.
And so I wrote 100. And then, so we all use AI now.
Absolutely.
So over the last year plus, ChatGPT knows me very well.
Me too.
And I actually update myself every couple days. Hey, what do you need to know new about me? What have you learned about me? I talk to ChatGPT like it's my homeboy.
Me too. It's the smartest best friend I have.
Yeah. So based on what you know about me, here's 100 topics that I want to talk about in my first 50 podcasts. Can you narrow it down to 50? Then can you put them in a sequence of events on what would be most important for people to hear from my life and what will be the best deliverable in a sequence of events that people need to hear it? Breaks it down.
Perfect.
What should I touch on in these episodes based on the story of my life? And it gives me everything broken down, and it tells me how to deliver it based on me and what people need to hear.
It's perfect. ChatGPT is so beautiful.
It's amazing.
You have any regrets?
No.
My man, that's what I'm talking about. If you have
Everything is a lesson, dude.
Absolutely it is.
When you live with regret, it's a bag that you'll carry around forever. You can never say, I wish I did. I should have. It's over.
Yeah.
Yesterday was over last night.
Doesn't
There's no
exist.
changing it. You learn from it. You grow from it. You go from it. That's it.
That's it. I love it. If you had one law everyone on earth had to follow, what would it be? Talk about it.
If you're going to complain, you're going to get locked up.
What do you mean?
If you're going to complain about life, you're going to get locked up.
What do you mean locked up?
Going to jail.
What do you mean?
What do you mean complaining? Why are you complaining? That's my law.
I like that. You complain,
We all
you
have
go to
something
jail.
to complain about. But listen, I'm not going to sit here and
Keep it to
speak to you about
yourself.
30 minutes about my problems. You got your own problems. I don't want to hear your problems. I don't give a fuck.
That's
You know what I mean? But the
amazing,
problem
yeah.
is people live on gossip, right? People live on bullshit. And all you do is waste 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours of your life complaining about something that's already done. Change it.
I like that.
Why are you going to bring something up? It's like, listen, you wake up in the morning and you stub your fucking toe against the bed. You've done it. I've done it. We've all done it.
Of course.
Go talk about it for the rest of the day.
That happens.
You're an
I bet.
asshole.
I bet that happens every day.
Everyone talks about it.
Sally, can you believe it? I stubbed my toe this morning.
This has been the worst fucking day of my life. I stubbed my toe this morning. My tire was slow. And they just keep going and going and going. Shit happens.
Yeah, it
Nobody
does.
gives a fuck.
Nobody cares.
You know?
They'll act like, oh, your toe.
Because they just want to hear. Because they want to hear how fucked up you are. That's right.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
If people stop complaining and they did more and complain less, the world would be a different place.
100%. Because that automatically removes the negativity from your mind, from your mindset.
It's always the problem. This is a problem. This is a problem. There's no problem.
There's no fucking
There's
problem.
a solution.
Your toe's not broken. You're
Yeah.
fine. You're walking.
Take personal responsibility. Like people who work for me, whatever, like nobody wants to take personal responsibility. This is why you are where the fuck you are, and this is why you are who you are. You create your identity by the person you are based on the excuses you make for the life that you live. Like,
Woo! Man, that's a gem. I like that. I love it. If you could have any question in the world answered, and it could even be the time and day you're going to die, what question would you ask?
I wouldn't want to know that.
No, that's just an example. What would you want to ask?
So it's pretty crazy. I write this question down in my journal.
No way.
Yeah. So if I can ask God any question, am I doing my best?
Nice.
So when I die, I want to walk up to heaven and I want God to be like, hey, listen, bro, you fucking blew the lid off it.
My man.
You know, like I had expectations for you, but you went above and beyond. I'm that person, dude. Like I'm relentless. I want to go after everything. I want to do everything. I want to experience everything. Everything you tell me I can't do, I'm going to do it and I'm going to do it better.
There you go.
Because that's my mindset. So I want it to be like, hey, man, like this is the path I chose for you. Not only did you go down that road, but you took that road with you and that road with you too. And I always write down every day, am I doing my best? If I'm not doing my best, redirect me. Show me where I need to be. And that's it. Like the only question I want to know is, am I presenting myself as good as I can day in and day out for the people it matters for? That's it.
I love it. What experiences do you want to still achieve and get to?
So obviously, like we all have money goals.
Mm-hmm.
But again, for me, that's secondary.
Yeah.
I have a second book coming out.
My
I would
man.
like to be like a New York Times bestseller, which I'm going to be. I'm looking to get on stages again because after COVID, the whole stage thing, stopped. So we're actually hosting an event in Jersey. We're doing a big event coming up in June 24th, and we're going to start getting back into these, events that are, bringing hundreds of people. And you're speaking and inspiring people. That's what I want to do. And outside of that, just build something different every single year, whatever it is. Like choose something every year, whatever it is, to put myself or my time into, just to see how I can make a difference. So like even like my daughter is going to graduate high school in a couple of years. So after that, maybe then after she's graduated, hey, I can go to Africa for a month. And I can see what kind of impact I can make there. I can go to India and see what kind of impact I can make there. Like when I can take that time away, like right now I can't leave for a month. You know what I'm saying? When I could take that time away and separate myself, I want to see what I can do for the person who doesn't have much, because I feel like that's going to open up my eyes more. And when you go to third world countries and when you go to places where people really live at the lowest levels of life, it really allows you to realize how good you have it.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why I can't stand people who are born in this country and fucking complain about where we live. Why are 90% of the people who are successful today fucking immigrants? Because they have something to compare it to. You spoiled fucks are always complaining about how bad life is because you got to show the fuck up. Dude, if you went to another country where these people came from, you'd feel like you were in prison. Right?
100%.
You'd be shitting your brains out because of the food you have to eat, the waters you got to drink. Like, come on. These people have
no AC? No AC? Oh, my God.
People have set such a standard in their life and feel like they deserve so much, but they're not willing to show up. We live in an entitled world.
Country. Well, I think it's mainly this country.
Yeah, an entitled country.
Yeah.
So the world doesn't owe us shit.
Not at all.
We have the opportunity to be here day in and day out, and our obligation is to be our best. It's not to compare ourselves to other people. It's not to complain about what the world hasn't given us. You're not going to get shit. I truly tell people, like, listen, you're not going to be blessed if you're not blessable. I don't give a fuck how hard you work.
If you're not blessable. I like that.
Think about this every day. It's not about how much work you put in. It's about the value you brought to the hour. So I can do something over the next 2 hours that's going to be a lot more valuable than somebody's 40-hour work week this week.
100%.
Because they just showed up for a check. I showed up to make a difference.
It's the intention sometimes. Well, all the time. The intention behind it. Absolutely. Amazing conversation. I wish we could keep going on and on, but let's finish strong. Please let the people know where they could find you. Anything you have coming up that you want them to tune into.
Sure.
And any last advice, even though you've dropped so many gems so far, any last advice you want to leave the people?
Yeah, so you can find me on my website, dansachkowsky.com. I'm sure it'll be on the bottom of this podcast information. Big Dan Official on Instagram. We are also doing an event in the Trenton, New Jersey area on June 24th. It's a Tuesday night. It's going to be a 5-day event. We're going to be doing an event based on scaling businesses, 7-figure businesses. So if you're in a 4-figure business, 5-figure business, whatever your business is, we're going to show you how to scale 7 figures or bigger. We're going to teach you about systems and processes. We're going to teach you about building culture, which is super important in business.
Absolutely, it is.
And building teams. And I'm going to be training on mindset and having a proper mindset and the roller coaster of life and how you get through. Because most people don't understand that if you made it to 100,000, you can make it to 5, you can make it to 1 million, you can make it to 5 million, but it's just the way you think. You have to adjust things. There's always an adjustment. Even on your bicycle, you always have to pull the tire back to make the chain tighter. Same thing in business. You always have to tighten it up. So we're doing that event June 24th. You'll see all that information on my Instagram. And one last thing I would leave everybody here is that you need to start showing up. Stop waking up every day and not knowing why you're doing it. If you wake up for a purpose, you're going to get up without an alarm. You're going to do things every day with intention. And you're going to be proud of yourself and the person that you became. So I would challenge everyone 12 months from now. So for the next 12 months, wake up earlier, even if it's 30 minutes. I don't care if you don't work out. Give yourself some time to sit down, read, relax, whatever it is. Go to bed a little bit earlier. Look at your screen time on your phone and look at how much fucking time you're wasting on social media, and let's cut that down.
Absolutely.
Let's not Netflix and chill. Let's listen to a book and chill. Let's do something positive. There's so many great movies out there that are educational that you can watch with your significant other. You can watch with your kids. Different things that will teach you something. You know, not a series of whatever the fuck people watch, these stupid cowboy shows, where the fuck they are, Yellowstone and shit. No, I don't watch that shit. I don't watch any TV. I have 15 TVs in my house and I don't watch one. Half of them are cameras.
There you go.
So wake up with intention. For the next 12 months, change some things about you. The first 30 days are going to be hard. The first 60 days are going to be something that you're going to start to see a difference. And after 90 days, it's going to be impactful. You're going to feel a difference. And if you can continue that on for 12 months, just write down the day that you started, write down the things that you've changed, and stick to them. And just realize, I promise you that if you do one thing different every single day of your life, that's going to bring you more peace, more prosperity, whatever it is, it's going to make you a better person. The person you're going to see in 12 months is not going to be a person that you would have ever recognized, because you never would have believed you could be that person.
100%.
That's it.
That's the biggest gem you could possibly listen to. If you made it this far, I know you took a lot of that in. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Peace and love.